voters now seeing what we've known for so long in the culture and in the community, the one way that we can fight is obviously
Bueno
voting.
chicos, estoy aquí con otro nuevo vídeo y hoy estamos aquí para ver el evento contra el racismo. Sí, el evento tener no pude, así que este sí os lo voy a poder traer. Este no, este sí que me va a dejar. Así que me callo y vamos a verlo. Quítate, que te quites, que te quites, que te quites. Vale, gracias. A ver qué vemos.
You need to use your vote to either support the ones that care about you and your condition, or to elect people who do. A newer initiative that we're dealing with is educating felons, right? So in the state of Texas, if you're a felon, right, if you've been to jail or to prison, but you're no longer on probation or parole, you have the right to register to vote. Another thing that was just brought to my attention, there's an initiative called Orange, which is happening not just in Houston, but all over the country. If you're in jail currently during pre-trial, but you have not been convicted, like you're still in jail waiting for your day in court, you are still eligible to vote.
And you said something so key. They work so hard to hope that we stay uninformed, but more importantly, to suppress the black vote. If you could do one thing with this message that we're trying to send today about how important voting is, what type of images would you like for people to understand and see when they go to these polls and vote, or when they cast their ballots?
I think the images that we've all
Chicos, pero vosotros tenéis que apoyar a Black Lives Matter, ¿vale? Tenéis que apoyarlos mucho. Necesitan que lo apoyéis, ¿vale? Así que está en vuestras manos, ¿vale?
That's what they were fighting for. Back then, they were just fighting for a chance to vote. People like Martin Luther King Jr., people like Malcolm X. These people died to help us be in a position to have the power that we have now, which is to be able to cast a vote and make a decision about the people that have control over our lives. So, I mean, if you in your own community need a reason to vote, look at a person like George Floyd. If the people in your city,
tío, pobre George Floyd, tío, pobrecillo,
having a conversation about defunding the police, are not open to issues concerning economic equality, judicial equality, racial equality, right? If they're scared to say Black Lives Matter, you have the power to put people in those positions who do believe that Black Lives Matter, who do believe in racial equality, economic equality, judicial equality, right? Who see us as human beings. And if the people in your community don't feel that way, vote them out. It's that simple.
pero es que ¿por qué están en contra de los negros? Si es que son humanos, solo que de otro color, tío. Que no los traten como animales. Que han tenido que hacer hasta un evento en Fortnite para decirlo. Que no los traten así, hombre. Un poquillo de respeto, ¿no?
Brutality for people to say, oh my God, black people are still oppressed in this country, and it is not fair.
I think it's twofold, Carrie, and so many different encounters between people of color and the police, there simply is no proof of what happened in the interaction. And so what happens is, in a court of law, it tends to lean towards the policeman's point of view, right? In this case, we saw very clearly what happened. I think the other thing is due to the fact that everyone was at home, basically, during this time period in relation to the coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
Right? It was on every television station. It was on every social media platform. Everywhere you turn, you were constantly hit upside the head with this message. You see in the interaction that this man did nothing to deserve what happened.
That's right. And I think that's so well said, because if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't worth it, and he didn't have to lose his life. I think that we touched on something that a lot of people talk about, and that is now defunding the police. That has been such a huge conversation, but there's so many misconceptions around defunding and dismantling. If you will, educate the audience.
All right, so most people, when they hear the term defund the police, they tend to think of, oh, they're going to take away our police department. Nothing could be further from the point. Defunding the police means that in certain communities, even Houston, take for example, we had over $1 billion allocated to our police force. Right? Pepper, right? That kind of thing. That fund, right? So why would the people want to supply the police with the means to higher crime rates tend to happen in communities where there's not there's not employment opportunities, right? There's not a lot of social services, and people are going to do what they need to do to take care of themselves and their families. When the community has more opportunities for employment, more opportunities for upward mobility, then they tend to be a less of a strain on the government. They tend to have a lower crime rate, and because of that, we'll have less need for the police in those communities.
You are passionate about so many different things in terms of making sure
Llévala
that
a la pobre periodista.
Talk to me about some of the other
Llévala.
projects.
Well, right now, obviously, being a part of More Than a Vote is essential. We're dealing with primaries in this country right now, and we just want to educate people. We want to inform people because people are tired, they're angry, they're concerned, and they want information and they want action. And so we want to make sure that we give them the right information and lead them in the right direction. And we thank the people that do not look like us for standing with us right now, because it's very important that people who aren't black be involved.
Yo creo que esto es bastante aburrido, ¿no?
We would have done it hundreds of years ago. And so I'm trying to use my voice and my platform just to let people know that if they feel like I do, there's a number of places they can go to enact change in their community. People need to know about how their city council runs. They need to know that they have the ability to speak when city council meets, to let them know that that's not the way that they feel their city needs to be run. Those are not the places that they feel the money of their community needs to be allocated.
And but being even a step further, they can run for office in their local community. They can run for positions.
Bueno, chicos, yo creo que me voy a salir porque
it's not hard to get on the school board.
Esto es un poquillo aburrido. Me voy a salir. Es que esto es más aburrido. Bueno, a ver, este evento, si te metías, te daban este baile que voy a hacer ahora, así que... A ver. Mira, si tú te metías, te daban este baile. Bueno, ahora que jugamos, chicos. Chicos, jugamos partiditos del FIFA, que hace tiempo que no jugamos. Bueno, corto directo y vamos a jugar al FIFA. Hasta la próxima.